Hello everyone, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. This time, I'd like to talk about declining fertility rate. You know, this is a case to developed countries and some developing countries. And in the case of developing countries, the causes of population decline are the causes of population decline are the low birth rate or low fertility rate and immigration, which means people are getting out of such developing countries, which is why in some in some developing countries their populations decrease, and this is the case of developing countries, and in the case of developed countries, the citizens in those developed countries have fewer children, which is why the lower fertility rate occurs as a problem. So which is why the population declines are happening, or the population declining, the declining populations have occurred and have grown to be severe problems. And first of all, why I'm talking about this topic is because that low fertility rate is a kind of sex related stuff, which is why I decided to talk about this problem, because as you know, I create adult contents, and next I'd like to talk about how to solve this problem. And at first, and for now, the fertility rate is declining year by year, or perhaps second by second, which is why it's necessary to increase or surge in some manner the fertility rate of developed countries. So which is why even though the main solutions to such population declines are immigrations in the case of developed countries, but accepting immigrants is a temporary solution, because the low fertility rate the low fertility rates are the results of the systems of each developed country, considering which if those developed countries accept immigrants, the result is going to be the same, because according to the systems, or according to the social systems of those developed countries, the citizens living in those developed countries decided to have fewer children, because the citizens found that the citizens thought that it was convenient, or it was efficient for them to have fewer children. For example, the fewer children means the number of children are one child or two children in each household, which is, or in one child or two children in each couple, which is affordable. So father and mother can afford to raise one or two children, which is the result why lower fertility rate problems occurred. Logically thinking, that is a cause. So considering which, what to do is to think who can get the benefits from childcare or raising fertility rate. So let me use an example of agricultural societies. In the case of agricultural societies, each household wanted to have many children, because this is a presumable condition in agricultural societies, or in the era of agricultural societies. But the basic understanding is that children are labors, or children are workforces for each household of agricultural societies. particularly in the past, or not only in ancient time, but in the case of recent era. So in the turn of century, I mean around the end of 19th century, yeah. Uh, from the end of 19th century to the beginning of the 20th century, maybe there are many farmers, or there are many families having or doing farms, or running farms, in which in those kinds of in that society, having many children was beneficial for those farming societies, because children are workforces, or children are laborers. Considering which, it was those families, or it was the households who could get some benefits, or who could get the returns by childbirths, or bearing children. So nowadays, or in the case of this present society, the ones who can get the benefits, or the ones who can get the returns from childbirth are governments. I mean, each government can get return, or each government can get benefit from childbirth, or women bearing children. So considering which, I think each government has to pay money for taking care of children, or educating children. So considering which, just how society should go is like, it's difficult to explain, but people shouldn't be worried about having children, and human societies should build up or establish some organizations, and the organization is for taking care of children. So so what is the purpose of those organizations is to raise children, and so that so the primary role of the organization is to eliminate some worries people have when it comes to thinking about childbirth, or having children. Like which, governments should establish some organizations, or facilities, or some institution, whatever you call such organizations. But what is necessary is to, as I said, is to eliminate some worries about childcare, or having children. For example, this is a fact that some couples lose affordability to take care of children. What I'm saying is that, for example, in the cases of some households, the fathers may lose their own works, or their own jobs. In such households where fathers have lost their own jobs, they can't afford, or they cease to be able to take care of children. But they have children to take care of, considering which, or so to stave off such situation, government should establish some organizations to take care of children. So for example, if some households, if in some households the fathers lost their own jobs, and they can't afford to take care of children. Government should help them in financial meaning. And for example, like which, the couples or families sometimes possibly lose their affordabilities to take care of children. So constant, and the causes might vary from, like the financial crisis, as I said, but in the case of financial crisis, fathers lose jobs. Some people lose jobs in financial crisis, And in another cases that warring, you know, when when wars occur, you know, some fathers may go to the workplace and some of them may die in war situation. You know, some of them maybe some fathers may be killed when they when they go to their workplace, which is their workplaces. So considering such situations, you know, there may be some inbound or incoming dangers against those family members, or particularly, you know, child cares. The dangers child care often come in the course of the lives of children themselves, and in the course of the lives of those families, considering which, you know, such financial and other types of supports are necessary, given by governments. So, which is what I'd like to tell you. So what I'd like to tell you is that, you know, governments have to take care of children for everything, in terms of everything, and in the aspects of everything, from the payment necessary for childbirth, or even before when women are pregnant, you know, the government have to pay all the money for children or fetus in those women. So until those children become grown-ups, and, you know, government in the course of from the fetus to becoming grown-ups, you know, governments have to pay money for the necessary payments to take care of children, necessary for bringing from fetus to grown-ups. So if governments could accomplish that, you know, the next stuff women would worry about, women may worry about, for example, you know, how many children they can bear, or with what kind of men women want to make children, and still another problem is that, you know, the changes of health conditions, or the changes of bodily healths of women before, you know, such changes may happen, or such changes frequently happen to women before and through childbirth. You know, some women experience the changes of their bodily conditions from, you know, by experiencing childbirth. So such changes are worries of women. So considering which, you know, like which manner, you know, what I was talking about, so the organizations are necessary. The primary purpose is to take care of children and eliminate the worries of couples about having children, and, you know, like which, you know, governments have to, if possible, governments have to eradicate all the problems about having children, about couples having children. I mean, so like which, you know, it's governments who can get the returns on investment. So which is why, you know, the investments are the payments for, you know, raising children. So considering which, you know, it's governments who have to take care of children, which is what I said a minute before. And so if such a things grow possible, or if such a thing become possible, you know, men and women can have sexual intercourses each other without any worries about, you know, having children. You know, if they happen to get children without their expectations, and they can, you know, in you know, extreme condition, you know, they can fling, or they can bring those children to the institution, or to the organization, or established by governments, so that they don't have to raise those so that they don't have to raise those children. So by doing which, what governments want are children. What governments want is children, which is why any manner is possible to get children. So by, for example, children gotten by for example, sexual assault is bad. It's possible to enable women to abort. Abortion should be possible, but apart from raping, or apart from the childbirths caused by rapings or sexual assaults, children without any expectations should be protected or should be cared, because governments want their returns earned by those children in the future. So this is what I'd like to explain. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you.